it. All right, let me know if you guys can hear us. I'm gonna get logged in here to the chat. It's been so long. It's been, I think we were just talking, it's been like maybe over a month. I'm sure someone will let us know down below. We got 23 people here watching. Good morning from Michigan, from Florida. Oh my gosh, I see some of our channel members in the chat. So exciting. Been a lot going on here, for sure.
It's very cramped today. Not you. I mean, like,
we can pull it.
I mean? Like,
yeah, we can pull it back.
On way less space than we normally
this is so close.
Are working on.
We want to tell them about some things we're working on here at the office.
What have we not been working on? I feel like we've had a lot going on lately. We hired somebody new. That's new. We've been going through a lot of wholesale. Some good, some not so great. And we've been kind of trying to get ready for summer. Really just doing everything that we can to, I guess, get ready for busy season. We started talking this morning about we can to, I guess,
sorry, there's no option to mute beforehand. So.
About fall time and really trying to get ahead for all the pick-me-ups coming back for the end of the year and getting ready for inventory again. I'm really excited about that. I don't know. I know we've been absent for a while. We've just, like I said, really been trying to get business processes right, and I don't know. That's about it.
We're still focusing on increasing a higher ASP, which a lot of people are doing right now. But before I hired employees, my average sale price was usually somewhere between $35 and $40 per item. So I have had a high ASP in the past, and just with hiring and, you know, focusing on like numbers, we kind of got away from that. Not that we weren't picking up, you know, high sell-through rate things or valuable items, but we kind of, I guess, leaned on more of the $25 sale price items, and kind of strayed away from focusing on higher ASP. So we're getting back to our roots, and just trying to get back to that higher ASP. And I think we're trying to aim for, again, between $35 and $40 just for the item too. So the item itself, not including shipping or anything like that. Honestly, it's been going pretty well. I've really enjoyed being able to, we're still moving quickly at thrift stores, but because we're skipping on a lot more things, we're able to get to more places, which has been really good. And I found some really, really high-end stuff recently. And how's it been going for you? I mean, you've been doing the same transition.
We definitely had some opportunities for a while. Not gonna lie there at all. We definitely had some struggles for a while with that. And honestly, like, summer's just a tough time for everybody anyways.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And so we definitely had some weeks where it was pretty rough, and I felt like we just ran through store to store to store trying to get as many as what we can. I didn't have the opportunity to source last weekend, as far as like not last weekend, but last week out of the office. But prior to that like Wednesday, Thursday, I was typically out. I told Cayley, I think we're getting there again, where I feel like we're hitting stores and we're leaving, you know, with quite a few items from each store. Curious to see how this week goes and see what we can kind of come across. But I definitely think that the changeover is happening. I feel a lot better about the items that we're getting. I'm kind of a big believer. We actually have had this conversation a lot lately about you find what you're looking for versus finding just what kind of you come across. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive. It's not like you can actually, I think about it and bring it to fruition. But I found some really high dollar items, and I think that this is the first time that I've been able to go out and find, like, religiously find some couple $100 items. And I think it's honestly come down to like more brand knowledge. There's things that I probably would have skipped in the past, or been, I guess, more worried about picking up, where now I'm picking a lot of those up. I don't know. So maybe thoughts are bringing it to fruition. Maybe it's just all a coincidence, but either way, we'll take it.
Yeah, it can't be a coincidence because it's been happening for months now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people on the channel. It's funny. They're like, every time I watch your thrift haul and you mention a brand I don't know about it, I find it like the next day. So I don't know. I think there's something to be said for it, but that's really funny. Someone is asking, is anyone else in Grand Rapids, Michigan? So you guys should get to know each other down in the chat. But super excited to be back, and hopefully we'll be able to do more consistent lives. I feel like every time I get on I say that, but then something happens. But we have been awfully busy, and unfortunately I do have to take care of business here first before YouTube. But with some new hires and stuff, I'm hoping we can focus a little bit more on you guys. So how are y'all sales going? Ours are gradually picking up really quickly, actually. Once August hit, it seemed like it just started going up. And we got a lot of channel members here. I'll have to keep an eye out for mods. I don't think I've seen a mod yet, though, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Sure.
Might have to assign some new mods.
Oh, Trina's here. I feel like she was a mod.
I think that's a channel member thing.
No, I feel like I made her a mod last time.
Did you?
Oh, no.
Trina or Trina?
It's Trina.
Trina?
I remember.
No.
I guess I haven't.
Good morning, people from all over. If you guys have any reselling questions, go ahead and drop them down below, because we're going to get diving into questions. And if there are no questions, then we're going to get off here. That did happen to me it's only like a month now, but I was able to get off at an hour instead of 2 hours.
Way.
I was like, people didn't have as many questions. I was like, okay, I guess I'm getting off of here. Good morning. It's so good to see you guys.
All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll up. So let's see. We have good morning, South Carolina, Florida. Yeah, we forgot who we were too. Like, not even going to lie. Somebody said, who are you people? It's been forever. It has been a while, so we are sorry. Good morning. We have from Washington State. I'm traveling to Alabama. Any tips on sourcing and bringing stuff back with you? I'm flying. I don't know who you're flying with, but we generally fly Southwest, and you get one free, I say one free, but one free bag for your own stuff, and then one free bag of thrifted stuff, because you actually end up getting 2 total free bags per person. So Cayley and I generally make it a rule when we go places that we're only allowed to pack 1 bag of stuff. I'd love to get to a point where I could pack 2 suitcases and check both empty suitcases and just live out of a carry-on. I could probably do it. I think I could, depending on how long we were gone. But that would be the way to do it, if you could just...
Yeah, I think if we wouldn't have been going to Posh Fest, because like there's fancy events and stuff, like you got to bring dresses and heels and all of that. Had we known how to do that, and I could just like wear jeans and a t-shirt, I think I totally could have lived out of a carry-on.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I will totally sacrifice and wear the same pair of jeans all weekend and just sweat through it. It's fine.
We'll just have an Airbnb that has a washer dryer.
That's a huge contender too. If you can go somewhere that has a washer and dryer, you can literally take 2 outfits and just keep trading them off. Yeah.
So your options are, you could fly somewhere that allows multiple check bags, or maybe there is a deal on adding a second bag so you can bring it back with you on the plane. Most people that I know just ship it back to themselves, and I think, first of all, let me just state this right here now. I do not recommend UPS, because I have had so many issues, both business-wise and personally, and I continue to have issues, and people that I know continue to have issues, and their customer service is terrible. I just don't recommend UPS. Like,
Sorry.
It was so bad. So many things have happened that I've honestly considered making a video telling people not to use UPS, because it's just that bad. And it's not, all the people there, it's their policies, procedures, and it's just terrible. But they do tend to be one of the cheaper options for shipping back bulk items. So UPS, there's now the USPS Ground Advantage, which honestly seems like pretty competitive for shipping larger items now. You could also use the flat rate options. But anyways, you can ship items back to yourself is what I'm trying to say. And then you are flying, but honestly driving for me is a really good option. I actually prefer to drive because I like to stop at places along the way. So that's an option too if anybody's thinking of planning a thrifting trip and you don't want to fly. Could just rent a bigger vehicle and fill it up.
It's really convenient too, because otherwise, like, I know when we went to Houston, we would have had to Uber like everywhere. And though like flying sounds cheaper than driving from Ohio to Texas, thinking like gas wise and stuff, even just convenience, right? Let's talk about time convenience. You save a lot of time by doing that. You also lose a lot of time by, if you plan to thrift the entire time, by being able to stop kind of all over the place. The other thing to think about, which I don't know why you're going to Alabama, so I guess I'm assuming, but the other thing to think about is who all is going to be there and why are they going to be there. So like for us, had we gone and tried to essentially source in the I'm gonna call it like close area, everybody was going that. Anywhere that people could like walk to source, they were doing it. Now I will tell you, I watched people bring entire like luggage carts full of stuff in, and I was super jealous. But
yeah, we didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't happen, unfortunately. But yeah. I don't know, I think I would drive as well if you had the opportunity. But if you're flying, I think I would just bring everything free back that I could and then ship whatever I couldn't.
Yeah, lots of options. I can't wait to start road tripping and doing thrifting road trips. I'm excited. That's my dream.
Yeah, I hear Alabama's really good too.
Yeah.
So we actually had a person that we bought from who lived in Alabama, and
who would have thought?
I've heard that there's not a lot of competition there. Maybe you guys will come on here and say, I live there and there's competition everywhere. But what she mentioned to me is that there really isn't a whole lot of competition. So let us know when you get back.
Yeah.
Let us know how it is. We're curious. Louisiana, Michigan, another Michigan, California. So many questions. Are there any brands for jeans that just don't comp and buy? I'm assuming you're asking, are there any brands that jeans that
we just
back up. No, back up. I read it wrong. Are there any brands for jeans that you just don't comp but buy?
Oh.
I would say we picked up Madewell for a while. I'm gonna disclaimer. I would not pick up skinny jeans anymore in there, but we used to be able to pick them up and sell pretty good. I wouldn't say there's any jeans that I feel comfortable enough with not comping and picking up, but I can tell you that 99.9999999% of the time, if I pick up a flare leg or like super wide leg pant and comp it, it generally does pretty well.
You might want to scroll to the bottom. I think we got some people that might need to leave.
Oh my god, I'm not in the mood today.
So, right there.
I need to take a picture of this first. Hold on. Sorry, guys. You have to put up with the chat for just a second because I needed this today.
What were we talking about before that? Jeans. Okay, sorry, guys. In general, especially women's jeans. Pretty much in general, all the brands that used to be really good, their skinny jeans are no longer good. And yes. The wide legs, the flares, the straight legs, those are the things you want to look out for in general in most women's pants. Men's, there's still some really solid brands. I assume that you're talking about women's and you want like a bolo list for jeans. I get really excited about a Goldie jeans.
Yeah.
AGOLDE. I get really excited about.
She's so excited she can't talk.
I get excited about mother jeans. They don't all comp like super well, but in general they're pretty good. And then same thing with Good American. Not all of them comp super well, but in general, like you're gonna get a decent amount for them. And then what's the one that has all the embroidery? Driftwood jeans. Those also perform really, really well for me. Those are the ones that have like a ton of embroidery. But other than that, I don't know, like Madewell's fallen out, Rag & Bone has fallen out.
It really seems style based anymore. Like you can't really go based on like specific brands, but more based on style.
Oh, AYR jeans. I just found a big grouping of those, even in skinny jeans, and they're selling really, really well. AYR as a brand in general is really good. I read the mousetrap in Friend Mike before you deleted it.
Oh, exactly where you think it was is where it was. I'm just kind of jealous I wasn't involved in the first place. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? I needed that today. It's been a rough couple days. Okay. All right, let's scroll up now. What am I doing? Seriously, guys, I don't know how to do a live anymore. Somehow I highlighted all my things.
We're about to block
I'm
everybody.
about to block everybody on the channel. I just can't scroll. Hey, I have Shelly here. Shelly, I don't know if you're staying for the video, but would you mind if I made you a moderator just because I know you? Let me know.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I know you very well, so you let me know. Also, I've been watching your TikToks, and they have been pretty great, so thank you. Howdy, y'all. Thanks for the priceless information. I hope you're from Texas, because that makes my day even better. Question. I calculated my monthly sell-through rate in my store recently and got 25%. Would you consider that good? What should I be shooting for? I divided the total sales in 30 days by my inventory. Not sure if that's correct.
All right, so first of all, everybody calculates sell-through rate differently. I assume that you are attempting to calculate your store's total sell-through rate within a month. If you are wanting to do that, what you're going to want to do on, did they say eBay specifically?
I think they just said, just
store. Okay, so what you have to figure out for any platform is you have to figure out what your month, how many did you sell in the last month, or
oh, she said yes, or both.
Okay, so you have to figure out your month's number of sales on average or whatever. So on Poshmark, you have to manually count them, so you'll know exactly what you sold within a month. You would take that number divided by the total amount of active listings you have to get your sell-through rate. On eBay, it's different because when you go to your sold, it actually shows you 90 days worth. So what we do is we take the sold amount divided by 3 to get like an average of a month's sales. So for instance, if you had 100 listed, you went to your sold, there was 90 sold, you would divide that by 3. So then you'd have 30 for a month's time, and then you would take 30 and divide it by your total amount, which would give you 30 something percent. So you definitely want to calculate it and just understand what you're calculating. If having Little Miss Nats here now, if having a month's worth of sell-through, if that's what you're trying to calculate, that's how I would do it. And that's how we do it. Nikki's actually about to do a store review today, and she's probably going to calculate that on the video if you guys want to watch kind of how she does it, but it'd be a good thing to watch when that comes live available. Yeah. So it sounds like you probably didn't do that division, but in general, what we try to aim for, or what most clothing resellers consider a decent sell-through rate, is 10% or higher. And so if you're selling on both platforms, you're going to want to take your number that you sold on eBay within a month, your number that you sold on Poshmark that same month, add those together, and then divide by your total active. That's going to give you your total store sell-through rate. But it sounds like you're still doing pretty good. Sounds like you're where you need to be. But 10% in general is pretty decent. Anything above that's really good.
We have Colorado and Illinois and New York City. Where do you advertise that you're hiring? Generally Facebook. We have best luck with trying to find friends of friends. We always want to make sure that people that we know aren't going to essentially end up to be trash cans. We've had some trash cans, and I just don't want to do that again. So we generally try to make sure that it's like a friend of a friend, or at least an acquaintance of that friend, or somebody that they've worked with before. Just to try to find out. We have hired from Indeed at one point. And we've had some pretty good luck with that as well, as far as kind of coming across people. But generally, we try to stick with people that we know, or at least we know are pretty local to the area, and we feel pretty confident with. So
We also, if you're not having luck with just posting it on your own page, you can also add yourself to like some local community groups on Facebook and post them in there. And we've had some pretty good success with that as well.
Yeah. Good morning from Florida, Boston. How long have you been reselling?
I was trying to calculate that the other day and I like never can remember. But it's been since 2016. I started doing it as just like a hobby here and there. 2019 is when I actually wanted to do it as more of a business, and went like full time. So it's been a span of several years, but not taking it very seriously except for the past few years.
What are your opinions on Terapeak? Do you ever use it?
Well, Terapeak used to have some really awesome features that they no longer have. If they still had those features, I'd really like them, but they don't. Terapeak is mostly used for anybody listening. Terapeak is usually used by people who want to see a longer span than 90 days that eBay shows, because it can show like a year's worth of time, I think. I personally don't use Terapeak anymore, because I find that having more narrowed results on eBay, more recent results, are more accurate to the sell-through rate and also how much you're going to get for an item. So for instance, if it's the middle of summer and I look up a J. Crew cashmere sweater, I'm going to get some pretty accurate results as to whether that sweater is going to move fast in the dead of summer or if it's going to sit in the dead of summer. And if there are some that are selling, I'm going to see about how much they're selling for, which is generally going to be lower in summer than they are in the winter. And so to me, I prefer having more narrowed down, more recent search results. I actually prefer it to be more narrow, to determine whether or not to pick up items, and also how quickly are they going to sell, how much should I price it for. I think Terapeak can be great if maybe you're trying to anticipate ahead of time what something's going to sell for, but we try to source in the season or right before the season. Like, we are trying to get ahead of season, but in general, we stay within our season. Like, at the beginning of summer, I'm not thinking about searching for coats and holding them until winter. So if you're not someone that does that, I don't see a need for Terapeak, and I don't tend to use it very much.
If an item is listed for a long period of time, how long before you decide to remove it from the listing? I have items from when I started 2 years ago, and I don't know how to move forward with them.
Yeah.
Cut your losses.
Yeah, it's been I'm still figuring it out. We're still doing things. We're still learning how to phase out items. What's been most successful for us is just price dropping every single month. I have a video on how to do that. But every 90 days, if anything 90 days or, every month, every 30 days, anything 90 days or older, we price drop by about, 5 to 10%. And then the next month, if it still hasn't sold, it's getting price dropped again. And we also add best offer. And usually that flushes out a lot of the items as you're price dropping. There does come a point in time where you have items that have been listed for 2 years. I'm right there with you. I have some. And so every now and then I will sort by my oldest listings, and I'll just take a look through that page. Let's say there's 50 on the page. I'll say, okay, are there any of these that should have sold and didn't? If so, I'll revise those listings because there's probably something wrong with them. But for the rest of them, if I'm like, yeah, I know why that didn't sell because it's a terrible brand, it's a terrible size, like, I would not pick this up now. We end the items, we cut our losses, and we move on. But I would say probably the 2-year mark is when we should start getting rid of things, but we're still learning those phases as well for ourselves.
Lisa wants to know, I do not accept returns on eBay, but last week I had 2 return requests for fit. I reluctantly accepted them, but what is a good way to decline returns, or should I just keep accepting? I feel like if you have your store set to not accept returns, which is a whole other thought process for myself, if you have it marked as not accepting returns, then I would just have a standard to not accept returns. Generally, though, I do believe in accepting returns, and I think it does make people more likely to purchase your items if they are able to return them. However, if you choose not to, I would definitely stick with your policy. Otherwise, you might have moments where, say a buyer purchases something from you again and they were able to return something the first time. Well, now they're not able to the second time. Then they get upset because they're not able to the second time and you made an exception the first time. I could just see you kind of opening up a can of worms for yourself. If you have a policy, which I would say with any business, if you have a policy, you should stick with it. Whatever you choose to do is your decision, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm curious as to why you chose to accept the returns anyways. It sounds like you might even be willing to turn on returns. And if you're willing to take a couple returns, why not just take returns for everything and then get the added benefit of that?
How long do you think it'll take to see the increase of sales listings, more items consistently?
That's a great question. Somebody actually asked that in a recent video that I posted. It depends on your sell-through rate. Most people don't realize that being successful at reselling is literally, it's just math. And so if you know how quickly your item should sell, then you're going to easily be able to tell when you make changes in your business how quickly those changes will take into effect. So we focus on a 100% sell-through rate in 90 days. That means that anything we pick up now might not sell for 3 months. So if we make any kind of listing adjustments, which by the way, this week we're about to increase our active listings by 5, but I wouldn't expect after that initial increase, I'm not expecting to see a return on that until 3 months later, because every item that we're picking up in general has a sell-through rate of selling within 3 months. So, think of it that way, I guess. What are the sell-through rate of your items? And that should tell you how quickly you're going to see the return.
Somebody's asking about return rate. So, are you willing to disclose your eBay return rate and how you process returns? I'm always interested in how offering free returns and getting the 10% discount on fees compares to the return shipping fees. So I just looked it up, and our current return rate is 4.9%. Generally, I don't get super worried as long as it's under 5 is really where I'm at. As far as the amount of returns we've got, it looks like we've had 82 of 1,600. So generally there's not very many. You'd have to figure out, I guess, how many items you have in your store and what the 10% discount off on each of your items would be for your fees, to really, I guess, equate whether it would be worthwhile or not to do free returns. I do think, like I said earlier, that it does help you as far as getting buyers to purchase, because they know if it doesn't fit that they can send stuff back. But
yeah, don't just think about the 10% you're going to save on your final value fees, because it's much more than that. Like she said, you're going to increase sales by having that turned on. So not only are you going to get that discount on stuff that does sell, but you're probably going to see your sales increase because you're opening up your buyer pool. Because there are some people that go onto eBay and they go to search, I don't know, like a express women's top size large, and then the first thing they'll do is click that box that says free returns. If you don't have free returns, they're never going to see your item. So it's just something to think about. It's not just that 10% boost, it's also what sales are you excluding yourself from. And I don't think we've said it this video yet, but people can always force returns on you. So like if that buyer went to make a return for fit and you didn't accept it, all they would have to do is say, okay, item's not as described. eBay automatically approves the case. It doesn't really matter if they're right or wrong, you're getting the return. So you might as well just go ahead and offer them.
I'm a firm believer too. Like I guess I still view things a little bit odd because I didn't know what reselling was before I started. It which wasn't something I participated in. I had never shopped on eBay. I'd never even heard of Poshmark. So I started with like very, I guess, different views than what a lot of people who resell probably typically do. And one of the biggest things that I will say is that as a buyer who doesn't resell, I never wanted to purchase something that didn't have returns because I didn't have a way to get rid of it, essentially. Which is honestly just something I was really just thinking about right now. Now that I'm a reseller, I do pick things up, and I guess I'm more willing to be like, oh, well, worst case scenario, if I buy it and I don't like it, I'll just give it to Cayley and we'll sell it. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my model, even for picking things up in the thrift store. I don't try things on. Ask Cayley. I'll literally just throw it in the cart and buy it. I'm like, well, if it doesn't fit me, it's going to be plus size, so she can probably sell it anyways, whatever. And I generally just make myself pick up things that are resellable. And I think that as a buyer who doesn't resell or isn't very familiar with it, they probably won't pick them up because for them, they don't have a way to offload it and make their money back, where I think all of us are kind of in the thought process that we can just flip it and resell it if it doesn't work. So
Yeah.
All right. You may have answered this just jumping on. Can I ask how many items you have in inventory? I looked it up. We have 6,726 listings, which is incredible.
Wow.
Because I remember us being stuck at the like 5,000 mark, and like it would be like 4,925, 4,999, 4,976, and like every day we listed and then we sold and then it was gone. So
It's kind of crazy to think
it was
about.
really, yeah, it was like we knew once we got over the hump that it would just keep growing.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. So
it's a lot of items, guys. We were just talking this morning about doing an inventory. Now that I saw that number, I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, I'm dreading it. I mean, I love inventory, don't get me wrong. Like, it's one of my favorite things, but
it's a lot.
It is a lot. And
we got more people now, though.
We do, but I still think we're going to need more. Like, I'm going to have to call in reinforcements or something.
What I'm excited about? I don't think we're going to have to take items out of the boxes like we did before, so I think it might go a little smoother.
I have dog hair all over your laptop. I'm so sorry. Okay. I sell clothing, mostly used. Do people actually buy used clothing during Christmas and Q4? I'm hoping, yes. Hoping for a good Q4. If this is, Ellen, your first Q4, you are about to have the awakening that you've been waiting for this entire time. It is coming. I love I hate it and I love it. So, you know when like you're really, really busy and you feel very inundated and you're like, I'm about to drown for the next month? Like, the thought of drowning is bad, but if you know you're going to drown and then end up on this like magic tropical island with all the margaritas, you know it's going to be worth it. That's what we're waiting for.
I saw somebody say, would love Little Miss Nat already got it. Just kidding. Someone said they wanted a video of your inventory process, and she already got it up. Y'all are the best.
Thanks, Natasha. You're the best. How do you utilize promoted listings?
I'm still experimenting with promoted listings. I think I just turned all of them off, to be honest with you. I'm a believer that you shouldn't need to promote things in order for them to sell. So if you have a really great item, I don't think you need to promote them. I think promoted listings should only be used for things that you got a lot of competition on. Maybe it doesn't have the best sell-through rate. Maybe you don't have the best size or whatever. But I don't think that promoted listings are for beginners. So I would say if you're a beginner, I just wouldn't even mess with it. But promoted listings, in my opinion, are good for older items that haven't moved, or maybe recently you picked up stuff you probably shouldn't have, just to pull them ahead in search. But in general, I just don't really enjoy using them. I'm still experimenting with it to see what works for me, but not a big fan.
Sorry, this is being weird. I lost some of our questions.
Oh. If you go back. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Sorry, no, it stopped again.
Did it?
It only goes so far.
I think you might have to take the video back. Well, it's weird because you're signed into my...
Yeah, it's not letting me.
Can you click that?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Sorry, I might have lost some of your guys' questions. I don't know why, but my face is frozen. A really weird face. But some of these questions aren't popping up now. It like randomly froze and now it's not. So if I miss your question, I literally just lost the entire page and it's popping back up. So feel free to drop them again.
If we haven't answered yet in general, just put them in the chat down below.
The first question I have back in the chat is from Holly D. So if you posted prior to that, I can't see it anymore and I don't know why. I guess I could try to pull up my phone and see if maybe it'll let me. I do know there was one other question that I was literally about to answer, so I'm going to touch on it really fast. But it was about like Hudson, frame denim, and
like
Everlane, things like those that typically don't comp very well. What is your opinion on those?
It used to be...
Sorry guys, this is going to talk.
It used to be much better, but... I don't know, all those brands have really trended down. I still like picking up frame, but the other ones, I think it's just, I'm going to say in general, it's all style based. So now when I see those brands, we don't just pick them up. They're very oversaturated, and so we're going to look up the brand, the style, the size, if it's distressed, possibly even if it's like a dark wash or like if there's a noticeable feature. But in general, we're going to comp very specifically before deciding to pick those up. We no longer get them just for the sake of picking them up. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, it's something must have just glitched weird. So
sorry guys.
Yeah.
Ask your question again down below if we haven't answered, and we'll filter through them really quick.
I saw Pamela was the same one who's asking about those, was also talking about Athleta and Lululemon. Those are very style-based, so we are specifically looking up very close attention, or paying very close attention to each style. There are still 100% some Athleta styles that you can pick up and still get $50 for all day long. There's some that, like I got that when I first started, that we could sell for $25, $30, $35 all day, every day. They are not performing anymore by any means. I think we ended up selling most of them for like $10 on Posh to just get rid of them. And there's same thing with Lululemon. If we don't have the size dot, we can't determine a style, we're going to pass on a lot of those, which used to be like my holy grail item. I was so happy to come across them and to find them, and now we just have to leave them behind, knowing that we just can't get them what they want. So I would just really make sure that you check those.
Dusty Old Hat made a good point regarding an earlier question about how to move stale inventory if it's been sitting for years. Instead of just donating it, if you have a buy sale trade store nearby you, you could also take it in and see what kind of credit they'll give for you there as well.
Yeah, because in worst case scenario, you can use that credit to buy more thrifting items, even if it's not something that you would necessarily want for yourself. Sometimes they have higher dollar items that are marked kind of high, not quite as high, but still marked decently high, and you could use your credits to purchase something like that. So have you guys traveled to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, north of 3rd Ward? I'll be there for 4 days and would love some thrift store hints. I have not been there, and I don't believe Cayley's been to Wisconsin either. Maybe there's some people in this chat that have been there that can offer.
I've only driven through Wisconsin. I've never stopped there.
Mandy said she went to FlipCon last week. It was fun to meet some of the YouTubers and people from Daily Refinement Patreon. Wish you guys could have made it. Sorry.
Yeah, Mandy. First of all, we want to go to every single event, every single one, but we have a fast growing business here, and it's just too hard to make it happen sometimes. We also have people that have personal things going on, personal travel, and so this business does come first, unfortunately. But hopefully, now that we got some more people on board, once they're trained and stuff, we'll be able to do a lot more things with you guys.
London Cole said her cat is having surgery today, so we'll be thinking about you. Do you guys keep a set profit back into buying, or just keep X amount of stock irrelevant of cost? Buddy, we just keep spending it. We do. We just, if it's available, we buy it. and we've really enjoyed not really having a cap, I guess. We just keep purchasing as we're able to, and I don't know. That's probably not a very good business plan. Just say, I mean, to think that we just keep spending it, but
We do have a cap, but we're always in the cap.
yeah, I feel like our cap is more so less about the amount of money that we're spending, but one, more about making good decisions, and two, never really having so much inventory ahead of time that we can't get it possibly listed for seasonality. And I think just by staying in those two parameters, that kind of keeps us away from the cost line. So
Yeah, for instance, we're only like 2 weeks ahead right now on sourcing. If you would have asked us like a month ago, we were 4 weeks ahead on sourcing. And that's when we started to get a little bit nervous about having too much inventory, not having enough people here to process it. And that's also about the time we said, you know what? Since we've got the time, let's go ahead and focus on passing on the lower tier items and only getting high value, since we are so far ahead and we do kind of need to reduce our unlisted inventory. And that's when we kind of made that transition to a higher ASP as well. So we do have a cap, we've just never really reached it.
if you lose a case on Poshmark, do they take the money from the seller, what the item costs, plus shipping, or what? I just lost a case, thanks.
You know, I have wondered that same thing.
I think they just take it out of what you have pending, from my understanding, like whatever your payouts are.
Yeah, they take it out of your balance for sure, but the shipping question is what I don't know. And I should probably dig into that and figure it out, because I've never figured that out. If anybody knows, they should put that down below. But they definitely do take it out of like your pending balance. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it depends on how many returns you have. I feel like with Posh, it's very like case by case basis, because it seems like sometimes they just like, I guess, grant a lot of like freebies. I'm sure that they do for so long, and then they don't, but
yeah.
What is your current ideal ASP that you're working towards? Is there a goal, or just up and up?
Our goal right now is between $35 and $40. I want to get back to where I was before I started hiring help. And honestly, I thought wholesale would like decrease our ASP, but we've actually been able to help increase it and maintain it through that, because we're purchasing things in areas that we're not able to get to. But right now it's 35 to 40. Hopefully after we reach that goal and sustain it for a while, maybe we'll increase between 40 and 50, but I can't see us going much higher than 40 to 50 just based on what's in our area.
Lisa says she has returns off because she's afraid of the wear/damage that people could make before they return, that I'm out the product plus all the shipping costs. So yes and no. Obviously, if it's like a complete destruction, then yeah, you're out the item. But they do have the option for you to withdraw, or I guess deduct funds from the return if they damage it. So you would always have that, as well as like a fallback plan if you have to wash it, or if there's issues or whatever. And most times you can reach out to eBay and just say, hey, look, I got this item back, but it's completely trashed. And most times they'll handle it. Sometimes you might have to go to like eBay for business, but generally they're nice enough to do the right thing.
Someone just said they're pretty sure that Poshmark just eats the return shipping cost. That's kind of what I think too, but there's not really, I'd have to go to I do pull my spreadsheets, but I think I'd have to go back to that specific order and calculate what it would be with shipping and figure out if that was the number. But I think you're right. I think they just eat return shipping. Thanks, Poshmark.
Can we also talk about how Poshmark also eats all the times I ship over packages that weigh more than 10 pounds, that I just keep lying and say that they're only 10 pounds because
there's no other
options. Like, what are you supposed to do when somebody buys a 25-piece bundle? Like, I just mark it for 10 pounds and send it, and then they send me an email that says please don't do this anymore, and then I do it again next week, and they haven't caught me yet.
I'm willing to pay whatever.
Yeah, but give me the button.
But it would be nice if they had the option for buyers to pay for that shipping, because like even with bundles now, when you have to upgrade to, I don't know, it's like you're adding another $10 to $15 sometimes using their upgraded shipping labels, and it's like sometimes you don't have a choice because the buyer just outright buys that bundle using your automatic bundle discount. You don't have the option to negotiate a higher shipping price, you know, and it's just, it's not really fair.
Yeah.
We have 202 people watching and only 54 thumbs up. If you guys could take a second, it's free, to help out the channel and click the thumbs up button for us. We'd appreciate it.
People are talking about returns and getting original shipping back. If you do free returns and do not refund the original shipping back, that basically equals out and you do not lose money. Is my brain working right on this? No, technically you would still be losing money in a way, because you have to pay the $5 or whatever it is to get the item back from eBay. So I mean, I guess theoretically, say you have a $30 item and you ship it out and it gets returned, the buyer pays the original shipping, so you don't pay for that. That's just gone. That's when you would be making a profit. Then the item comes back, say it's $5. I'm just making all these numbers up. You get the item back. Now if you sell it, you're only going to have $25 in profit, essentially. If it's set back again, now you've got 20, so on and so forth, until it's just not profitable. So you definitely don't want to have something that gets sent back a lot, which is why we like make sure that we always have measurements and the fabric contents and like everything that we can to make the buyer confident in purchasing them first. And we always tell the buyers, like, we're happy to answer any questions before you commit. Like, give us the opportunity to ask 1,000 questions before you buy something, and that way we can try to prevent returns. But yeah, ultimately every time that something gets shipped back and you have to pay the return shipping, you're losing that chunk of money off of that item every time.
Mm-hmm.
So just a thought process. Shannon, I'm not grumpy. It's been a rough couple weeks. So I'm glad that you like the podcast though. I will come back eventually. It's just been a rough couple weeks. So a lot of people are saying the same thing with shipping. Would love to see a video on inventory process. It will happen this time. I will make the commitment for you. When I pull reports for inventory, I will record how to do it this time. And that way you guys have that. Disclaimer. I don't know, you can't edit this because it's live, but disclaimer. I'm putting it right here for everybody to see. I will post an inventory video. I will answer basic questions. I will not send you my spreadsheet. I will not send you the formulas. I love you all. But it took me a lot of time. A lot of time to figure out this spreadsheet. And unfortunately, if it was as easy as just giving you the formula and telling you to plug it in, I would 100% do that. But it all depends on how your store is set up. It all depends on how your inventory system runs. And I would have to do it for every single individual person. And it would just be so difficult to do that.
We don't want to be tech support.
Yes. Eventually, my goal is to get enough staff that I can get Cayley to let me be free and come to each one of your houses and do inventory with you. But we're years from that. So help me hire.
Gonna need a lot of thumbs up to get there.
Yeah. But yes, I will definitely try to walk you guys through the process. I'll try to be like as detailed as what I can. And try to honestly like offer you somewhat of a user manual to like, I guess, explain why I set things up the way I did and like how it fits with what our listings look like and like inventory system looks like for us. But again, it's going to look different for every single person. We've bought out a couple stores in entireties. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you going into it ahead of time is making sure that you're putting your custom or your SKU in your custom label section. I see so many people who put it in their descriptions and I think, oh my God, your life's about to be miserable. Mm-hmm. It is just so difficult. Oh my God, there's a little heart emoji.
Those are...
Somebody hit the heart emoji. Oh! I touched it on accident. I didn't realize you could do that. I saw him like coming up. Somebody push the heart emoji so I can show Cayley. See? You wanted to smile. There
I saw some.
Look at it! Look! Oh my God! There's a little horn.
something about it when we entered the live, and I was like, I don't know what that means.
I was like, what is happening? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And they're laughing at it, but it's fine.
There's a party one?
Yeah, I need the party one. Oh my god, there's hundreds! Ah, you guys, I needed this more than you knew today. I didn't know what it was, and I'm just...
It reminds me of the whales
It has
on our group chat.
Oh, I probably shouldn't show you this, because I don't know what's in here. But in our group chat...
It's still going.
It's okay. I'm really enjoying it. In our group chat... Where's work chat? There's... Oh. Okay, it's just you and Marley, and they already knew who Marley is. But there's this little whale. Look at the whale, guys. Can you see it? Look. I just sent them a whale. There's a whale emoji. You can't even see it. Sorry. Anyway, sorry. We're derailing.
We've been having all kinds of fun with
I have had so much fun with it.
The group chat.
The group chat with the whale. I made it like ocean themed. It was awesome. Okay, but yes, we will do inventory systems and make sure you use your custom label. I will totally try to walk you guys through. Sorry, I will babysit for free if I wake up your kid. Sorry. I will totally walk you guys through as much as what I can to try to give you guys an idea. So,
someone said will be my first two. My body is ready. Is that regarding inventory?
Probably.
It might not be ready. You might think it is. We're always sore the next day, like the
oh
weekend.
my god, yeah, we like crawl over the floor and everything else, which Cayley just said that we probably won't have to empty these boxes, which is super convenient, and I'm really excited for that. But yeah, we definitely, somebody else just put on here that they're gonna have to do an inventory before Q4, and we're definitely gonna have to do it too, and we are very overwhelmed.
Heather, thank you for the super sticker. Really appreciate you. She's a channel member too.
Yay! We gotta get some special things for them.
Yes, I have some ideas for special videos for the channel members. I made no promises about any special videos, just the emojis, but I've got some ideas for special videos for them.
Yeah. If I could just show up to work, maybe we'd get them done.
Stop.
Some people do holiday gift exchanges where they all commit to buying used. Also vintage sell as well. Yes.
Oh yeah, I meant to go back to that question. People do buy used stuff. It's usually the higher end stuff though. So like a North Face puffer jacket or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're still buying used though.
Dusty Old Hat said sometimes that you get returns that are open for a few weeks and then they don't follow through and the return closes and you keep the money. I'm not even gonna lie. I should not let you know what kind of crappy people or crappy person that I really am. But when that happens and somebody's been really, really mean, I literally will die laughing and make fun of people because I'm like they'll comment, be like, this isn't what I expected. This said it was brown and it's tan, or like something crazy. And I'll be like, it's literally in the description. Like we put photos. How did you not see it? And then it'll close. It'll be like the last day and I'm like watching the computer like and then it closes.
Thank you to those of you that are becoming channel members right now. That's awesome. Appreciate you guys. That's just a way to support the channel. There's not currently anything special except the special emojis, which have been really cool to see you guys use. But we do plan on doing some videos soon. Some fun things. You can even do, I think you could do channel member only lives too.
Ooh,
that might be fun.
That'd be fun. When I go to the thrift store, I get a huge pile of clothing and then comping takes me forever. What are your tips and tricks for comping in the moment? Just do it.
When I go to the thrift store, I get a huge pile. That might be the issue.
Yeah, I would not get a huge pile of stuff because then it seems like you're just like suffocating in it. I'm a comp as you go kind of person unless there's like knockout, drag out fights, which there have been. I hope you're watching. Why are you laughing?
I'm just thinking of all the comments I got about the video I just posted. I haven't even talked to you about that yet.
Oh, I'll have to look at it.
It's been a lot.
But yeah, I definitely don't comp it all at once. I generally try to, I mean, I might do that with like new racks, but I generally try to comp as I go. And then that's going to help build your mindset when you're in there. So like, I don't know, say you come across 10 of the same item or 10 very similar items. you're not going to have all 10 of those in your cart that you're going to have to comp and then put back at the end. You know, now when you go to the next rack, don't pick that item up, or this isn't going to be good, and you kind of build on it as you go. And then I just try to build honestly between store to store to store. You know, like, okay, I went to this store this morning, it's going really well, I picked up this item's not good. Now when I go to the next store, I know to pass on that again. I would not wait until the very end.
I will say, when we first switched to the comping, like when you pick up the item and you're deciding whether to get it, we literally stop where we're at and we're comping it. When we transitioned to that, it did feel very awkward and frustrating in the beginning. Like, I felt very impatient because I was just like, I need to get through the rest of this aisle and then maybe I'll comp at the end. But when you think about it, like, big picture, you're wasting more time because you're gonna end up having to put those items back, and hopefully you're putting them back in the right place. And it honestly, in the grand scheme of things, takes less time to just stop where you're at and do it. And it'll become like, you won't be impatient after like a month of doing it. But I will say, in the beginning, I did feel very like I didn't like doing it. Aww. You've been by far the best channel out there that has helped me take my side hustle. Oh, I missed it. We'll see it again towards the bottom.
Into a business. She said thank you.
Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you guys. I'm glad that the content is helping, and hopefully we can continue getting some more content out there.
Can I say something really not related to this channel?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Beep! There's no beeps. But I was just thinking about all the times I go like this and smile for people. It reminds me of all those women on TikTok now that are like, oh, thanks for the banana. And I can't. I don't even know if I can continue to do heart emojis anymore.
Is it the AI thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ruthie, thank you.
This isn't for TikTok. Sticker. I just want to say for the record, I did this before TikTok even had TikTok lives. So I do not make different faces for bananas or hot dogs or explosions. It's just all the same thing. I do get excited, and you might hear me go, oh my God, but it's just the heart. I set the trend. It was me.
For everyone that has no idea what she's talking about, they're all really confused. We're not showing those.
Yeah,
there's bad
I was just going to tell you that there's these people on TikTok. I watch TikTok a lot when I'm bored. But there's these people on TikTok, and they do TikTok lives, and they just like, they pretend that they're like robots, like they're like AI, and they just literally will sit like this. And then as somebody like gives them money or like does gifts or hats or hot dogs or whatever, they'll be like, oh, thanks for the hot dog, and they make weird noises. It's just creepy.
It's creepy because it's a way for people to control someone on the screen. That's what bothers me about it.
It's literally like you guys all commenting
NPC
and being
emoji trend. That's what it's called. Yes.
Yeah, it's literally like people being like, touch your head, and you doing it. Like, it's so strange.
It's creepy. It is weird.
Yeah. Anyways,
TikTok
I'm just
in general
saying,
is weird.
For the record, I was doing heart emojis before this happened, and I feel very uncomfortable doing it now. But I will continue because that's been my thing forever.
Thank you guys.
But it reminds me. How do you explain duties of the role when you're hiring? Honestly, I'm just pretty like straightforward. I really just think about their day. I start and just really walk them through like, hey, here's the expectation. When you come in, you will do maybe like, I'm just going to go over the last one. But like for the girl we just hired, we started with, she's primarily going to be doing like photos and listings. So I tried to break it down. You'll come in each day. We have a brief team meeting. You will grab 45 items. You'll take 45 items and you'll hang them up. You'll take those 45 items and check for flaws while you're steaming. You will photograph all 45. You will upload all photos for those 45 items. You will list, and then we kind of walk them through each item and describe it. When we have them come in for the interview, we kind of show them how everything's set up. Talk about what that looks like, maybe show them an example, and really kind of give them, I guess, the best parameters that we can. We also really discuss like reselling and what reselling is and how it works, and just kind of, I guess, get as detailed as what we can with it. I don't know.
Yeah, Sean, we just hired, so we're not looking for anybody yet. Yeah, when we try to, for when I say we, I mean this girl right here, she handles like all the hiring, but we try to be kind of vague when we post the job listing for the duties. So like when she posts the job listing, it's like basically an office assistant. We're going to have you list 45 items. You'll take photos, you'll describe them, and you'll put them away. And they try to keep it vague. We've tried to be kind of descriptive before, and it just, I think, confused people. It wasn't enough to like,
we need enough to hook them so that they feel like they understand, and then we have that conversation go in depth.
Yeah, and she goes in the interview process, goes over like pretty in depth what their day would look like. But in terms of just posting a hiring ad, we keep it kind of vague.
You know the post office closes in a half hour.
Yep, I'm going now.
Okay. I just realized that our shipping hadn't gone out yet, and I was nervous. We do price relatively the same on eBay and Poshmark. eBay, we set a price, and then Poshmark, we adjust $5 if it's under $40, $10 if it's over $40, just to allow for offers. Knowing that Poshmark is more of an offers platform, and we do not have offers turned on eBay. Oh my god, every time.
Oh gosh, hopefully we didn't lose.
But we do generally price about the same. But again, just slightly different for offers. So.
Oh my Lancey, your post office closes early. They open again later.
Yeah, they take lunch. We're from a small town, and they have no help, so we actually close for lunchtime. I can't seem to command the higher prices that you were able to get for similar items. Any thoughts?
I mean, we pretty much price at market, which is what everybody else is pricing at, unless we feel we have features other people don't have. But I don't know. This is a statement I've been wanting to say for a while because I haven't figured out like how to say it. But a lot of people are like, I list the same amount of or the same items you do. I list the same amount. I list them the same way, and I'm not able to command this. You're not doing something exactly the same, if that's the case, or you would also be selling that. And I know a lot of people think it's a social media following, and I'm hand to God, 99.99999% of our buyers are people who have no idea who I am. They just find the listing on eBay. So there's something that needs tweaked in the listing, or a keyword that you're not adding. And those are things that just, quite frankly, come with time in reselling, that you'll get better at as time goes on. But I think a lot of things are just knowledge based, and maybe you're not including the same keywords that you need to pull the right buyers in to see your listing first. I'll give you an example. People can't seem to sell Eileen Fisher, but we sell it all the time. And then if I go look at their listings with Eileen Fisher, they're not including the material in the title. And that is a big thing that brings Eileen Fisher buyers in. Like, you almost have to put the material in the title because that's what Eileen Fisher buyers are looking for. So that would be an example. So if you didn't know that, you might not be able to get people to see your item or demand the amount of money to sell it.
True that. I still have trouble researching / comping, absorbing time like crazy. Like when I get a thread up men's box, do you have an established research technique?
Our comping process takes like 10 seconds or less. We're just quick at it. We don't really buy boxes though, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're just pretty straightforward. We pick it up, what's the item, what's it made of, what's the size, what's special about it, and then that's how we decide whether we're picking it up or we're not. The biggest thing, I guess, for me when I think about comping is how am I searching versus how am I listing? If I'm gonna list it as, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Eileen Fisher, women's 100% linen open cardigan. I'm going to search the same exact thing because that's what I expect people to be looking it up as.
in the size.
and the size. Like, that's how I'm going to determine it. I'm not just going to search Eileen Fisher cardigan and call it good. Like, if you're going to put it in your title, you should be putting it in your search to see if it's worthwhile, essentially, is what I was getting at.
Yeah, if you're not pulling up similar enough items to what you have on hand, you're probably not searching enough. You're probably not narrowing down enough. And basically from there, once you've narrowed down your search, it's just, does it have 100% sell-through rate or doesn't it? It doesn't, you're putting it back, or it does, we're getting it, and then what do we price it at? And then we just look at like maybe the most 10 to 15 recent solds. All of that is such a quick scroll. I don't know. I can't think of anything we do like special.
Have you ever thought about...
Shelly, it was nice to see you.
Bye,
She's just gotta
Shelly.
go.
Love you. You're good stuff. I'll miss you. Have you ever thought about doing mystery boxes for your items that aren't selling?
No, you're actually not supposed to.
Do you see how that... Oh, how that's like
Yeah, I don't
writing
know.
what the emoji is above? There's definitely something weird happening.
Yeah, something's going on in the chat. You're not actually allowed to have mystery boxes on Poshmark. I know that for a fact, because I just read the restrictions on Poshmark stuff the other day. I don't know about on eBay, but no, it's not. I just feel like that would take more time than it would be worth.
I also feel like, okay, hear me out. If I offend anybody, it's fine. Just deal with it. But I also feel like it's kind of crappy, like, to do mystery boxes for other resellers out of the stuff you couldn't sell. Like, maybe they would have better luck, but, like, I also just feel like there's a lot of things, if I think of our older inventory, if I sent people that, like, that stuff we definitely shouldn't have picked up, and I would just feel really guilty about giving that to somebody else.
If it didn't sell for you, why would it sell for someone else? But maybe
there could be some exceptions I could see, but
maybe they're meaning like just a buyer, like you could do all size medium top mystery boxes.
I could
or
see
something. But I personally feel like it would take more time than it would be worth.
Yeah, I feel like mystery boxes would be great for customers. I just would feel guilty for resellers. You know what I mean? For sure. Dusty Old Hat wants to know, how is the condensing going? What do you feel like is going to be the schedule?
Still figuring that out. Right now we're condensing like a row as we have time. So like Marley, if she just became our office lead, so her schedule's changed a lot, and whenever she has free time, she starts on the next aisle that we haven't condensed recently. So there's a couple aisles with empty shelves, and then I think once she goes all the way through that, then we'll do a full like movement of the boxes and start fresh again. But we're still working on that. It's still very new, so I don't have an answer for that yet.
Linda for
Oh my gosh, you
thanks,
guys.
Scott.
You guys are
I heard that mystery boxes were $10 here. I love you.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Scott.
Linda,
It's always a mystery here. You never know what we're gonna say.
especially on this side. Will a cross-posting service automatically post my entire Poshmark closet to eBay, or do I have to list them all into the listing service first?
No.
From Poshmark to List Perfectly, it's pretty automated. From List Perfectly to eBay is a pain, to be honest. Just because you pretty much have to do the entire listing again, which is why we start from start from eBay and go to List Perfectly, because that's automated, and then from List Perfectly to Poshmark's just a few clicks. So
It's strictly a tool that copies your information into another listing, but you still have to fill out any missing details that didn't move over, and you also have to hit list. And they do that because they have to comply with the platform. So Poshmark doesn't allow any kind of automatic list. So that's why you still have to hit list and everything. But I will tell you that all of the cross-listing platforms, generally all of them try to come out with the same features, because when one does it, the other one has to compete with it. And I will tell you that I know that they are talking about ways to kind of do that and figure that out, but it's probably way down the road.
would you ever consider selling your new hire training documents or doing a video on how you train someone new?
I get that a lot. Honestly, when I first started being asked, I didn't consider, because I was like, how many people are actually going to ask that? But now it's been a lot. We have discussed making training videos for our staff here at the office. And then I've considered making those, making that like playlist shareable with you guys, but we are way far from that. And so no, at the moment I don't have plans on sharing that, but maybe we could make a few videos on like training and hiring and something. But as far as sharing the documents and stuff, probably not right now.
So I feel like stuff like that's so temperamental based on like what you are doing and like what you're training for. But definitely I'd like to at some point get there. I already have some videos done, but the problem is that things change so often, and we'd be training people on our processes. So if your processes are different, you'd have to adjust for those. They're also pretty straightforward too. Like I just mostly use like bullet points on Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever. And just kind of work through that. Yeah, she did. Monica, I'm right here.
Have you hired anyone who is not familiar with reselling? This girl right here.
I had never shopped in a thrift store before I started with Cayley. Like, I don't think I'd ever even walked into one. And my husband thought it was the funniest thing because he grew up like super poor and thrifted all the time. Like, that's just how they bought their clothes. And that was like his only option. And I remember thinking that I was like, I had no clue what I was getting into, and he thought that it was like the funniest thing because I was terrified. I was like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm walking into. And there was like all this stigma around thrift stores, like especially for our area. Like,
yeah,
our area is not great, and they're pretty dirty, and they're really run down, and it's not good. So I was like terrified that that's what they were all like. And I went to this really nice one first, and we walked in, and I was like, this is like just a store. Like, it's a regular store. Now, not gonna lie, we go to some pretty ghetto ones now, and those are my favorite, but yeah, I knew nothing about reselling. I'd never shopped on eBay. I'd never heard of Poshmark.
everything was brand new.
Everything's teachable.
Sometimes I think, and we've talked about this before in our previous professions, but sometimes I almost prefer to hire people with a blank slate, because you can teach them your ways and exactly how to do it, and they don't come with prior knowledge or like old habits that you have to break. Sometimes I prefer a blank slate.
Yeah. Keep the stigma going. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, I should just have a whole channel about how nasty thrift stores are or something. Run everybody off. Do you know what Vestair is?
Yes, we do not use it. We are only on eBay and Poshmark right now. Well, I guess that's not true. I do list a few things on Depop, but there are very few things, and it is not consistently.
Trying to turn on free returns on Poshmark. Where is that located? Poshmark doesn't do returns at all. They just, unless you obviously like
mess up,
screw something up. But
yeah, there are no settings for returns.
I switched from iPhone to Android for photos, and they are too dark with the Android. Any tips for my photos to be lighter and colors to look more true? Thanks. You can adjust your settings. We all use Android, but you could adjust all of your photo settings for brightness and everything like that. Thanks, Tammy.
You guys are
it's just because I said I was uncomfortable with the emoji heart, so like, watch me.
Thank you so much for the super sticker.
Thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, you could totally adjust your photo settings on iPhone or Android to be whatever color works best for you, or light or whatever you need. That's what I would recommend. We have to do that still for like black items because the backgrounds still make them a little funky.
Do you have a lighting system? We stopped using lighting systems, but if you do have a lighting system, I would just say make sure that you get cool tone bulbs, because having any kind of warm tone bulbs or settings can distort the color as well.
Everybody's talking about party emoji, and Dustiel has like, what are you seeing?
Okay,
I love it.
It is a super sticker. A super sticker is like a super chat, where it's basically like tipping us during the live, except they can put a little like emoji sticker there. So it's a little sticker emoji, like GIF thing included with the super chat. Yep.
Do you spend time giving buyer feedback on eBay?
Not anymore. No.
Thank you guys for all of your little stickers and your little hearts you gave. It made my heart happy. It's been a rough week and I needed it. It was nice. I appreciate you.
You've had a rough couple of weeks.
I just keep saying it's gonna end. But I think that either God's gonna strike me dead or the world's gonna catch on fire. Like it's been rough. For sure. But I'm here. She texted me yesterday and she's like, we're gonna do live tomorrow, but you totally don't have to be involved if you don't want to. And I was like, no, I need to. So it's nice for you guys to be here. I appreciate you. I'm dying over your name. I don't know whose name we're dying over, but I wish I knew. I'm in Texas too. All my zucchinis and garlic died. It occurred to me later that I should have dug up my garlic because it was probably roasted.
Yeah, they're saying it's over
very
100
hot.
degrees. Yeah. Texas, I was just talking to Dusty Old Hat about this, but it's
Oh,
Texas,
did he move now? He's gone?
yeah, he just did.
Wow,
But
congrats. That's exciting.
yeah, Texas is like its own kind of heat. So like we were talking about, I used to live in Arizona when I was a kid, which gets up to like, I remember it being like 120 degrees in the summer. But it's like a dry heat, and like every time I would go to Texas, even though I was from Arizona, I would be like, why is it so much hotter here? Like I don't understand. I can't
we
breathe.
got off that plane in
Yeah.
Texas and I was like,
Yeah.
you know when that episode of SpongeBob where he gets out of the water and he's like,
Yeah.
water. That's what I imagined.
Yeah, and he was like, well, it's because Arizona's dry heat and it's like kind of humid down here. And I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. But it could be like 80 degrees in Texas, 115 in Arizona, and it would still feel hotter in Texas. Like, I don't know. Just something about it.
Yeah. Trina says she gets embarrassed, like she has to try to hide that she's comping in the stores. I used to be
I
like
felt
that.
that way too.
Now I just am like, there are people like, oh hey, what are you doing? I'm like, comping to see if I can sell this on eBay.
All the managers know her and know that she resells.
It's fine. They hold stuff too sometimes. They'll be like, hey, I found all this stuff in the back and I kept it for you. And I'm like,
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that because I don't want to get into that conversation.
Yeah.
But it's good to tell people what you do. And I will say, out of the many years that we've been in thrift stores now, I don't think we've ever had somebody give us a hard time for it. Do you remember a time?
No.
I think most people want to chat about it. They're supportive. We made a couple of contacts both at the thrift stores and outside of the thrift stores, just getting to know people just by chatting. So
Do you remember that one guy in the first store you took me to? The small, like, nice-ish one? The closest one? Take the first exit.
I don't remember what
It's
you're
on the
talking
left. Yes, you do. You took me to Popeyes right near there and gave me those nasty noodles with the nasty
Okay,
egg rolls with the
I know
noodles.
what you're talking about, but I don't remember.
You know the store though?
No.
You
Well,
know-
the store,
okay.
not the store where
You remember the guy with the black hair that used to get mad every time we found Lululemon on the shelf because he knew we were resellers
Oh,
and got
yeah.
so devastated that he missed the
Okay.
Lululemon when they were putting it out.
So I guess we did have.
Yeah.
Like,
He
one
wasn't
thing.
mean about it,
Yeah.
but he was just like, every time we would check out with Lululemon, he'd be like, they're supposed to pull that for online. You're not supposed to be able to buy that. And I was like, thanks, though. He got so sad.
I find that I think in the beginning you feel very nervous doing it, and I'm not saying there won't be rude and nasty people, because there definitely might be, but most of the time people are very curious, they're very kind. Sometimes you might make connections with people that you had no idea just by chatting with them about it. So don't be afraid to do your comps, is what I'm saying.
We've had people check us or come up to us too and say, hey, I noticed you're comping. I have some stuff in my car. I was going to donate it. Do you want to look through it
yeah.
first? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty chill.
Yeah, I got some good stuff that day.
Is it necessary to point out tiny holes made by tagging guns as a flaw? I don't feel like it's that big of a deal to list as a flaw and decrease the dollars, but not sure how the buyers would feel. Hey, girls! If an item has a flaw from the tagging gun, do we list it as a flaw?
Yeah.
Do you hear that? Yeah, you want to know why? Because we just got a Poshmark return yesterday for it. We just talked about that this morning, and they were like,
Yes, you
yeah,
should.
You should. If it's like decent, if it's just like a little, like if it's something that's like knit and it's gonna just go away, then I don't. But if it's like a plain t-shirt that it's gonna have a hole and it's always gonna be there, I would list it. Better to be safe than sorry. Do you have a new or updated SEO tag list? I've been creating one for 3 days and need more. What is SEO? What's the? I know what
search engine. She's talking about the keywords list.
Oh,
We don't have a new one.
Sorry, my belly's grumbling.
It went along with your O. I just thought it was the O. No, we don't have an updated one. I have thought about doing that, but again, that's on the list of things we just have not gotten to, but want to get to soon. And before anybody else asks, we've been getting a lot of messages and emails and comments about private, mentorship groups, courses, and then one-on-one consultations and coaching. All of that we are looking forward to hopefully doing in the future. We just do not have time yet, and we cannot offer it to one person but not offer it to everyone else. So I've been getting a lot of inquiries about that, and answer is still the same. We have some things going on in the background that we're working to hopefully be able to offer that in the future, but currently we do not have time to do it right now.
We have not gone to the Goodwill bins in a while. We were going pretty regularly last year, just like summertime. We normally use that as a fallback plan to get cost of goods cheaper because we have such a hard time thrifting in the summer. We got lucky and had a bunch of wholesale this year, and we didn't really have to go to the bins. We've talked about going to test it out again just to see if it's performing, but I've heard from some of our other reseller friends that it hasn't been going very well. So I wanted to make sure that we ran that through. So
Scott, thank you so much.
I love you. You guys are great. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of, you brought up bins. I meant to say this earlier when the person was talking about stopping and comping in the thrift store. We don't do that at the bins. At the bins, I would suggest throwing everything that you're interested in into a bag, get to the end of the row, and then comp it. But at a regular thrift store, I think you should just comp it where you're at.
Scott, I'm not saying that I don't think, oh my god, I'm a mess. I'm not saying that I don't think we're friends, because I do think we are friends. But I really want us to be better friends. Like, I'm gonna start Instagram messaging you, because his comment says, I heard private mentorships were $10 here.
Yeah.
Like, I heard the mystery boxes. And that honestly just made my whole day. So I appreciate it.
His Instagram's pretty good. You guys should go check out Cha-Ching King on Instagram. He shares like his finds and solds and stuff. He sells some pretty interesting stuff that I'd never think to pick up.
I'm gonna like you on Instagram after this. I'm gonna go find it. She might have to help me, but
you guys are cracking me up.
I'm gonna find it. I'm
right.
definitely trying to get caught up. We don't have the same size store. Wouldn't that affect sell-through rate?
I think we're nearing the end of the chat, so if you guys do have any more questions, be sure and put them down below. Wow, the thumbs up went way up. 213 people watching, 121 likes. Thank you guys so much.
Taterland was talking about Figs brand scrubs. I've noticed that you really have to list Fig scrubs by the style name. There's certain ones like the Zamora joggers that do better than like other ones. So I would definitely make sure you're listing them by searching the style number on the tag. If you're doing that, I honestly don't know why. I haven't searched them in a while. Like, I can search the Zamora jogger right fast and just see what it comes up with, because those were one of the best they had.
We've been like selling size extra small with flaws. So like,
I'm just gonna search Fig Zamora joggers in an extra small. There are 186 available that are pre-owned, and there are 220 that are sold. So they still have 100% sell-through rate. It does look like they are starting to sell a little bit cheaper than they were, but it looks like a lot of those have flaws. So if I were to list a pair of them right now, I would probably still list them for like $25 to $30.
Most of the fig stuff only goes for 25, but there are certain ones like the Zamora joggers that can go higher. But like she said, and that, you know, how we were talking about Elaine Fisher, style, name for figs buyers really matters because that's what they're looking for. So little niches that you have to find.
Sean brought up a good point that figs retail price has dropped, so that could be part of the reason. I'm touching you, sorry.
I don't feel anything.
We realized that was the same way as like Life is Good, so we were picking up Life is Good quite a bit, pretty reliably. It was selling like rapidly fast. And then I think the market kind of got inundated with that, and the price dropped as well. So you can now buy, what did you say, new tag ones for like $25, like what retail was for those?
Yeah, I've comped some extra large crusher tees lately, and the sell-through rate's terrible. I can't pick them up anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with fresh produce, and I think it's because they started selling them at like Costco or Menards or something like that. Not Menards, Meijer. That'd be weird. But it's just like you also have to keep up to date on what happens retail-wise to know what's going on, but for sure. Little Miss Nat, thanks for putting Cha-Ching King's Instagram link.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to click it. I started reselling in July part-time. I've sold 4 things so far. I've had so many emailing messages on Poshmark. There's a flag icon next to the messages. Do you recommend flagging those comments? Yes, please.
Yep.
Shardy says Figs has been cracking down and pulling a lot of listings for Vero. I stopped selling all of mine because I got 4 listings pulled.
I've been hearing that about Figs and also a lot of brands. There was one really weird one I heard about the other day, and I was like, why would they even bother? But I mean, that's any brand. That could happen with literally any brand.
Somebody brought up a good point. I don't remember who it was. Sorry, I went my little la la land here. But Trina, she said when I put in an item to comp it, I change the words around and I can get completely different comps. That's why I tell you it's important to search what you would list the item as, and then it's either good or it's not, and you move on. Don't change it a bunch of times. The only time I'll make an adjustment is if I search something like, I don't know, I'm going to go very generic here, but I search like Life is Good t-shirt. I might end up with like 30,000 results. That's not going to tell me what's going good. I might add to that and do Life is Good Crusher tee women's.
Long sleeve.
And I might still end up with 500, and I might limit it and say, okay, extra, extra large, or whatever it is. Like I might limit it down to get a smaller number. I might also adjust for it to be larger if I do the comp and I find like nothing listed. But really, once I search what I search, and whatever's there, I either get it or I don't. I don't keep changing it. 1, because you're going to spend a lot of time in the stores doing that, and 2, because I feel like that's an easy way to kind of fall into the weeds and say, like, I need to search it till I can make it work. And if you have to search that long to make it work, then it's probably not worthwhile.
Yes.
To be honest.
No, we do not have a dedicated video yet on factor stacking. That's also on the list of things, but we have talked about it extensively on many, many lives.
Little Miss Nat says I add a free piece that hasn't sold in one of my larger bundles. That's a good shout out too, as like an extra complimentary item, as a way to get rid of things.
Yeah. We're an hour and a half in, so I feel like we're going to be getting off of here soon. So if you guys do have any questions that you haven't dropped in the chat, make sure to drop them, because we're going to start rapid firing through.
I list from my phone and list about 5 items in an hour. Any advice for a faster listing from phone?
My only advice is to list on the desktop.
Yeah.
Do things in bulk. It's definitely going to be faster on your computer once you get used to it.
Bye, Scott.
But honestly, thank you so much. Honestly, 5 an hour on your phone is not bad, but you could definitely get a lot more done desktop wise.
I would recommend, if you don't have a desktop option, to at least convert your phone to a desktop option. Only because you'll be able to see more and kind of preemptively work ahead, I guess, mentally. I prefer that rather than like the app, because then you can zoom into everything and still just click through stuff like you would on the desktop. Obviously, it's not going to be as ideal because the screen's not going to be as large. But I would recommend at least going to like Chrome and then having it open, or Safari or whatever you use, if you have to use your phone. Have you hired any? Oh, we already answered that. Do you use videos in your listings? No.
There was one time I did, and it was because we had a vintage Christmas, like I think it was like a Mickey Mouse thing, and it sang. So I used a video for that, but not a lot of things that we get sing. So I just wanted to make sure they knew it was working. So if we had any hard goods in the future that did that, we'd probably do a video. I think it helped to sell it. Hello, everybody. We're getting off of here soon, so if you just got on, make sure to put your questions down below.
Heather, I don't know what your question is. You just put what's going on like you were confused. So if you have a question, let me know, because I'm not sure.
I think it might have been when all the hearts were going on the screen, and
maybe
because I see some people talking about it above her.
I learned a lot. It's stupid hot here in Texas. Louisiana is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
I love your content. You have helped me and my business grow. Keep it up, ladies. You're rocking it. When you do your Posh Closet closeout, do you do it on Fridays or Sundays?
We usually do it on Fridays just because I'm here at the office. So we'll just do it on Friday.
How much do you feel...
Bless you.
So sorry. I just thought somebody wrote all over that bag over there. I was like, what happened? Sorry, I got sidetracked. How much do you feel very old inventory hurts the store? I'm working on marking my stuff way down to sell, but feel it may take too long and it's dragging me down. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely think it can drag your store down. Like I said, we're still working on a phase out process. So we could be better about it, but definitely it can bog your store down, yes. And just mentally drag you down, hold up your, that's money you could invest into something else. It's also taking up space in your inventory. So just like in general, it's going to bog you down. It's a good idea to attempt to move it out, and then if not, get rid of it.
Bob, for us to thrift in a typical day on a general route, we drive about an hour and a half one way up to purchase. Generally we try to pick regionality, I guess. So we'll generally try to pick stores all in the same region to, I guess, get the most bang for our buck, just to prevent driving on opposite sides of the city to obviously get items. Generally those are within probably 5 to 10 miles of each other, from start to finish. We hit as many as we can, and then again we drive an hour and a half home. I think roughly, if I had to guess, we drive anywhere between like 55 to 65 miles to get to those locations. There might be some that kind of push a little bit further, and then like I said, probably within 10 miles for the rest of them, and then probably around 60, 65 back. So if you just think about that, you're looking at, what is that, 120, 130, like probably about 150 miles a day if I had to guess.
Most of our sourcing days end up being about 3 hours of driving, 1 hour lunch, and then 4 hours of actual thrifting time, typically. I did answer about the eBay and Poshmark promoted listings. The answer is I don't use them very often. I don't like using them, and I'm still testing them out, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. I've never used Poshmark promoted listings, just eBay.
Here's a good question. When shipping international with the new eBay program, do you know if you can use priority mailbox, and since you're shipping to their hub and they repackage? That's a question I don't know.
I think it would depend on you'll know because it'll allow you to select that option or it won't.
Okay.
I haven't really thought about it. I don't know. Marley, are you here?
Yeah.
When you do an international shipment, have you noticed if they give you the option to put it in like a priority mail, or is it making you put it in our own packaging, or do you not know?
I'm not sure. I feel like I've done both.
I feel like it does give you the option now, but I can't say that 100% sure. Only because I was thinking that now that it goes to a hub, I don't think it tells us at that point that it's going beyond that hub. I think it just says, like, you're going to Chicago or you're going to Erlanger or wherever.
Yeah.
And I think it will let you ship with priority, but it has to give you the option.
Yes.
So when you're on the eBay shipping page, if it doesn't give you the option to pick as something being priority, then you won't ship in priority, if that makes sense. I love the bands. Afternoon, love your channel, watching from the UK. Hi, how are you? Grant wants to borrow $10 from Cha-Ching King. How do you determine your cost of goods? By the price of each item or an average of all the items purchased at that particular store? We use a spreadsheet, so we actually have it marked on how much we're paying for each individual item when we're in the store. It will go down as specific as telling us exactly what we're paying for every single item. So let's see if I can, oh, I'm on my own drive. I was like, what is that? I'll see if I can pull up the spreadsheet for you.
Some more hearts.
Aw, you guys, I needed that today. These spreadsheets are all really messed up. Here, this is a pretty one.
They said I'm getting ready to ship it now. Well, let us know.
So we actually have like cost of goods and, sorry, before you all see all my Instagram messages, cost of goods and how much we intend to pay for each item. And that's kind of how we set up, those items.
Yep.
And that's just kind of the general process. So we don't do an average. We used to do average for like wholesales at some point to include shipping and things like that. I don't think it honestly really matters at the end of the day, but we just do it for each item. What filter did you use just now on your phone to find sell-through rate? So for what I do for sell-through rate is I'll just go to eBay and I'm gonna, for example, pick something that's on here. I did the Fig Zamora jogger. So I just literally put Fig Zamora joggers extra small. And then it pulls up and gives you just generic search. Then I go to filter and I go to pre-owned.
Condition pre-owned.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah. Filter, condition, pre-owned. It gives me 186 here. Did you see that? Or is it blurry? Thanks. And then I'm going to scroll down and go to sold. And it's going to give me 220. So that's how we calculate sell-through rate. I hope that helps. Look at you making it look all pretty. Do you guys have any videos on factor stacking? You answered that, but look, they use the factor stacking.
I just saw that. We really need to make that video. We've definitely talked about it at length in other ones, but never a dedicated.
Do you use videos in your listings? No, we already answered that. So I really learned a lot from this live. I ran on my computer and set all my listings to free returns for the buyer. That makes so much sense and why a lot of my items are not being seen in my store. Thanks, Mary.
Good. I hope it works out for you. Don't be freaked out if you get returns. You're able to relist them.
Do the 5 listings an hour include photos and measurement taking, or is this just putting the listings together? I'm not sure how many they were doing, if that was the entire thing or just different chunks. For us on a desktop version, we figured out we can do, what did we figure out?
Well, this was moving at a very slow pace, but we figured it took 8 minutes in total.
Yeah. That's hanging, steaming, cutting all the tabs, checking over for flaws, measuring, photographing, uploading, doing all the details, listing, scheduling them, and getting them put away.
That's what we set for a new hire that didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. I think generally when it comes to the entire process, Cayley and I figured we could do about 10 in an hour. We were at about 6 minutes apiece. Well, again, the entire process from the moment it gets brought in to hanging them and steaming them and processing them and cleaning them if we need to or whatever that looks like. But again, that's on desktop, so I'm not sure what that looks like through mobile. Do you have a video on how you optimize your listings?
not one that I've done in a while. I mean, we definitely have videos where we show how we're listing items, but I guess we could add that to the new one.
Okay. We do international shipping. We are enrolled in that program. Could you please explain how you combine shipping?
There's a couple of ways that you can do it. I assume you're talking about on eBay, but one of the ways is you offer a promotion. So if they add so many items to their cart and proceed to checkout, they automatically get whatever discount you say you want to provide. For us, we just do, if you buy 2 items or more, it's a flat rate of a $10 shipping. There's also ways if they add items to their cart regardless of a promotion and checkout, it'll combine the shipping for them, but they'll get paid, or they'll get charged for both shipping. The way around that is they purchase the item but they don't pay for it yet, and then you're able to go into your awaiting payment and then send them an invoice. And when you send them an invoice, you can change the shipping amount to whatever you want it to be to combine them. And then when you send that invoice, it changes their order total, and then they can proceed with paying the new order total. It's honestly a huge headache, if I'm going to be honest. eBay could definitely do a lot better about that, but there are a few things that you can do. And on Poshmark, they add everything to a bundle, and that's it. If they don't do that, then you have to cancel, relist, and add everything to a bundle.
We do take all of our photos with a phone. We don't take them by camera. Clothing brands we've stopped buying. We just kind of talked about Life is Good. We pretty much stopped picking those up. A lot of the like cheaper Athletas, we don't use those, or we don't pick those up anymore. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't say there's any one brand that we just completely discard. Because even within Old Navy, there are items we've sold. It's funny, a lady just, I think it was a comment on YouTube, but they said, because of your videos about factor stacking, I've been able to sell a lot of things. They just sold an Old Navy women's plus size top for it was close to $40 on Poshmark. And I was like, holy cow. So, I'm never going to exclude any one brand, because there's definitely stuff that sells, within those brands for sure, even for a higher dollar.
Thanks, Heather. I appreciate you. The size of the storage building, this is about 2,000 square feet. We are running out of space very quickly. To be continued. Joe, you're here. Thanks for your purchase. I think it was either last week or the week before. I don't remember. And I meant to message you and tell you, and then my life blew up. But I'm here, and you're here. So I wanted to say thanks for your Poshmark purchase.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I meant to tell you, and I forgot. I just saw Joe, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this is Joe Childress, and then it was. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if it says California, and it did. And I was like, oh my God, I know her.
We had another viewer sale for a pair of Spanx jeans the other day. I was very grateful for. That made up the 0.1% we were talking about. 0.01%.
Everybody's saying that you can ship the items with
okay,
international, as long as it's obviously depending on the weight or whatever. But we import our items from our phones to a desktop, and from the desktop we upload them to the eBay drafts. That's how we do it. You can also, in your folder on the desktop, you can bulk rotate, which has saved a lot of time for our girls. It's one thing that we realized they weren't doing, that they're able to do. But yeah, we used to just upload by the phone, but then we got tired of waiting of it lagging, and now we just plug them in, drag them all over to the desktop, and then adjust from there.
Maybe we should do an updated video.
I'm annoyed that I got a neutral saying I think it was slightly expensive. This is not related to service or the item, but something that was 100% in their control. Do you think it will be removed?
Probably not.
We got one the other day. It was what, 2 stars or 3 stars or something, and you asked what they could have done better. They were like, nothing. I just don't give sellers high ratings.
They gave us a 4-star, and they were like, I never give anyone a 5-star. 4 is really good for me. Don't ask me to change it. And we were like, we're not asking. We're like, we just wanted to know if something was wrong and we can improve on in the future. But no, don't let it get to you. Honestly, if you're talking about a neutral on eBay, it doesn't really change your percentage. So I personally wouldn't fight that. It doesn't matter. If it weren't a negative, I might consider fighting that, but it doesn't really matter.
Alicia, so here's the way I think about free returns. Yes, theoretically, every time somebody returns something, you are losing the return shipping. That is true. Here's the debate, though. If, say, you sell 100 items and your return percentage is 5%, which is where we don't want to go over, right? 5%. Each one of those is first class, so say $5. I guess not first class, but USPS ground. So say $5, and all this is just quick math. I'm just doing flat numbers so that it makes sense. So $5, we get 5 returns. 5 times 5 is 25. So it's $25 of what we lost in profit for those items, right, as a return. If we offer free returns and say we have 200 people that look at our store, but only 100 of those people actually make a purchase because they get to our store, because we offer free returns, because they feel confident, versus another 100 people that look and potentially purchase because we offer free returns. You can make up by selling just one item that $25. So that's why we do offer them. Yes. Are we saying you're not going to lose any money in the long run? Absolutely not. But as far as the large scale of having more buyers get to your channel, not your channel, but your store, we feel like it's worthwhile. Because in reality, out of every 100 items you're selling, you might get 5 items back. As long as you're doing what you should be and listing them correctly. If that's the case, then it's going to give you the option to have more options for sales.
People want clarification on the transferring photos. We take the photos on the phone, we take a USB plugged into the laptop, then we plug the other side into the phone, and we transfer those files into the desktop.
Yep. You just click on the phone and then select whatever photos you want to drag and then drag them over to a folder.
Yep.
Bye, little Miss Nat.
Bye.
Oh, your phone's dying.
We're about to get off here too because I'm at 15% battery, guys.
Narrowing down checking comps. So my rule is if I can't get it below like 500, I change the search and search a little bit more specific. If it's like 0 and non-existent, I might take a couple things out. But generally, I just try to comp as fast as I can. So if I was in the store, I would just search Fig Zamora Jogger size extra small. And I would see what that comes out with. I told you the results were like 186 to 220, I believe. That would be good enough for me. I would take it. If I comped that and there were 500 sold or 500 available and 500 sold, I might think, okay, that's just 100%. Let me get a little bit more specific and see what I can come up with. And just to verify that it is really 100%.
So she might add like blue
or extra small or whatever, just to kind of try to narrow it down a little bit more. If I, again, am too narrowed, I search Fig Zamora Joggers, women's size, extra small, teal. I might not get anything. I might have to take the teal out and just go with the extra small. So it just depends on what results you're getting. I hope that helps. I just switched from an iPhone for photos to an Android. We talked about that.
Yep.
The photos were dark. We talked about that. I think we were just a little bit behind last time.
Yep.
Could you please explain how you went about hiring employees and what paperwork is involved, insurance, software, things in advance?
I could not explain all of that on this video, but I would just say you need to Google for your state what's required, and then probably talk to an accountant that hire an accountant to do your payroll processing. And if you do that, they can give you what forms the new hires need, but it varies per state. The processes are different per state, but that's how you can find out. Google CPA.
Sold. Shardy brought up a good point that sometimes Bluetooth functions are available for your phones and computers, and that's a good way to not have to pair them. We just use like oldies that we've bought off eBay.
Tried and true.
What do you do when sourcing costs like Goodwill raise their prices? It makes sourcing difficult. We just raise the ASP. So if we're going to pay $5 for something, we might only want to sell it for 30. If we're going to pay 10, we're probably going to want to shoot more towards like 40 to 50. If it's going to be $20, we're going to shoot more towards 100. It just kind of depends. As the value or the price of what you're purchasing increases, the value of the item also has to increase. It does make it harder.
So which means you just have to get to more places. Okay, fine. I'll turn on free returns. We're converting people. It's great.
I want to know how many people in this video have changed to free returns. So let us know.
Yeah, it's good. So a great example with that are jeans. A couple years ago, jeans in our area were $4.99, then they went to $5.99 and $6.99, and then they completely skipped $7.99, and now they're $8.99. So instead of purchasing jeans that we could sell for $25, now we have to sell jeans for $40 or higher.
Yeah.
And so it eliminated a lot of what we could get, but we used the extra time by passing on those items to get to more places and find more of the $40 and higher jeans. Hopefully that makes sense. I changed, somebody said. Do you do free returns on heavy items like cowboy boots? We do free returns on everything except for, oh my gosh, so many people. That's so great. Except for maybe like a wedding dress or prom dress, which we don't sell a lot of, but if it's something we feel might be used and abused, we might turn off returns for that. But almost everything has free returns on.
Garden resells, we have around 6,700 listings currently.
That's so crazy.
Oh my god. Sorry, I keep messing this chat up. Once people realize that returns will happen, free returns makes the process much less stressful. Once we turn on free returns, and the return percentage is the same as before.
Apparently we just reconnected, so I'm not sure what somebody might have missed, so sorry.
We have one, the turn of returns. 2 that turned on returns.
I think there was 3 or 4. Yeah, what for me, once I realized the buyers could just force returns, that's when it clicked for
4.
me. All right, guys. If we have any more questions, I'm going to answer them, but if not, my phone's about to die. So I need to get off here.
Do you buyers pay for return shipping, or do we pay? We pay for all return shipping. That's why we do free returns. You could just set returns and have the buyers pay for them. We do not.
But then you don't get your top rated seller discount.
You must be talking about my graphic shirt. It's actually a Harry Potter shirt. It's Hogwarts. They said graphic. It has the sorting hat up here, and it has the castle and the sorting cup, not the sorting cup, the Triwizard cup, and the Gryffindor sword, and I think that's it. It says Hogwarts in cursive. I found this thrifting. All I buy is thrifting stuff anymore, but it was cute, so I bought it.
All right.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I think we're good. Oh, wait, we have one more. For the eBay returns, do you have the buyer? Oh, seller pay. We have the buyer, or no. We pay for returns. We always do free returns, so we don't worry about it.
Someone said, I wish I could get back the amount of time wasted for fighting returns. Agreed. Can you turn free shipping on for all of your items? You can. You can either use business policies. If you don't know how to do that, skip that. You can just bulk edit everything. So you can grab all of them in the bulk editor and change them there.
So last minute, I want to get to 175 on likes. Can you make it happen before we end this video?
We're at 151, 255 people watching. Please give us a thumbs up before you head out.
All right. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for getting on today. And we will try to be back next Monday.
Trying to. Yeah.
We'll try to be more
We also
reliable.
need to put out a podcast episode because it's been like a month. We got a lot to talk about.
We do not refund initial shipping. They purchased it. We shipped it. It goes out. And then that shipping money has already been spent. And then if they choose to return it, then we just pay to get it returned. But we do not return original shipping on those items, unfortunately.
Kent Daigle said, less stress equals more sales. God, that has been our motto here. That is like what we compare everything against. And it is so true.
Yep.
All right. We need 5 more likes. We're at 170. 5 more likes.
I'm glad we talked you guys into it. Let us know what your thoughts are next week. We appreciate it. So we do charge shipping. We do not do free shipping, just free returns.
Yep, calculated shipping.
All right.
172.
Just a couple more.
73. 2 more.
One for Cayley and one for me.
How do you do that? How do you not return shipping cost? They pay the original shipping. You just pay for the shipping label for them to send it back, but you're not required to refund the original shipping amount unless it was your fault.
Yes.
All right.
All right. We appreciate you guys.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.